Says the Rebbe, okay, by means of counting the Jews, they became important in the world. Says the Rebbe, Daled. But this itself has to be explained. Since that counting, if counting is a very, very external thing, that has nothing really to do with the inside, every Jew got counted. They were all worth the same. One. If so, the biggest genius and the biggest fool, the greatest righteous Jew and the worst, most terrible Jew, they were all worth one. If so, counting is a very external, almost meaningless thing. Al yedei ma mishamesh kli lebitui hatochen v'cheshivut. If so, how can counting them bring out their importance? What type of an importance do they have just by being counted number one? The greatest Jew in the world is not worth any more than the most simple Jew. So the counting shows absolutely nothing about their content. This question is a good question. If quantity and quality are two separate things, sha'az I chashivut, then a lack of importance or value yochol bateh could be expressed in the number, which is kamut. It could be that a thing which has no quality whatsoever nevertheless is counted, and therefore the counting doesn't show on anything. But here, what are we talking about? We're talking about counting the Jewish people. Baram kan medubar b'bnei Yisrael. Here we're talking about counting Jews. And every single Jew, no matter how far away this Jew is from the truth and from justice, nevertheless, the Jewish people are called Goy Echad Ba'oretz. The Jewish people are called one nation in the world. Kapirush Kabbat Kodesh Zad Morzaken, like the first Rebbe of Chabad explained, Shebnei Yisrael Osim Gam Ba'oretz, they are a nation that is one nation in the earth, that the Jewish people, they make even in the earth, in Yanim Artzim, even in the most mundane things, Gam et ha'oretz, also in the earth itself, Davarim Gashmi Chumrim, physical things, to Echad. Goy Echad, we are a nation of one, of the one God, and we're living in the earth. We're living here. The job of the Jewish people is to reveal God's oneness even here. How do we do that? By being happy with Torah and mitzvahs, by being brave with the Torah and mitzvahs, by expressing ourselves, Torah and mitzvahs. Each Jew is one Jew. And that you are one Jew, you're counted one as a Jew, makes absolutely no difference how high you are, how low you are, how great you are, how small you are, how wise you are, how stupid you are, how righteous you are, even God forbid how evil you are. Makes no difference. You are a Jew and you are part of the crew that makes God's oneness in the world. B'nai Yisrael kashurim kamut ve'echud. By the Jewish people, automatically there is combined quantity and quality. If a Jew is just one Jew, there's already the quality is there. Lefichach yochola ledidam echut litbateh gam b'kamas. Therefore, by the Jews, quality can be expressed even by the number one, by the number, just counting. In other words, what? That person is a Jew. You count the person as a Jew, he's counted as a Jew, it's a different story. And also the other way around. The people that hate the Jews, why do they hate the Jews? For absolutely no reason. It doesn't make any difference if the Jew is wise, if he's smart, if he's stupid, if he's righteous, if he's not righteous. It makes no difference whatsoever. Hating Jews is hating Jews. They hated Jews, all the Jews that were the biggest communists. and they identified totally with the Communist Party. In the end, they got liquidated with everybody else. Here, paper. 1 second. Yeah. We're on hay. Maybe sit over here. Oh, just in the corner. Here, just sit over here. You can open the door a little bit also to let a little bit of air in. See, do we have something to put in the door? No, too much noise? No. Maybe stick the... Yeah, good. Thank you. Great. Right, we're talking about the counting of the Jews. Why God wanted, why it was so important that the Jews should be counted. So the Rebbe counting, when the Jew is counted, it brings his importance into the world. Even though that every Jew has the same value, one, but the value of a Jew, no matter how low it is indescribable. So the fact that he is counted as a Jew, that automatically gives him an extra power to affect the world. Hey. Hey.
Where is the Aleph?
Here. Aleph. But now we're doing hey. Mishum akesher ben kamut la'echut, because there is a connection between quantity and quality. Right, you understand? Usually there's no connection between quantity and quality. If you say, how many cars did Ford Motors sell this year? Right? So they say, well, they sold, 1 million cars. It says, what type of cars? The little ones, that's not cars. I'm talking about, how many Continentals they sold. There's such a thing anymore? I don't know. Expensive cars we're talking about. No, when it says how many cars, it means the cars. It doesn't make any difference. Right? If it says how many fruits are there in the store, how many pieces of fruit, it doesn't make any difference if it's lemons, if it's oranges. They want to know the number. The same thing with counting the Jews. How many Jews are there? They counted them. So you say, 1 second. So counting them, it's the same thing like counting fruits. The number doesn't indicate what type of a fruit it is. If it's a lemon, if it's a banana, it's a what. The same thing, the counting the cars. It doesn't talk about if it's a car that you sell for $500,000 or if you sell it for $50. So it's a car, right? The same thing the Jew. It does not say anything about the quality of the Jews. It says, yeah, but he's saying that he's a Jew. And the fact that the person is a Jew, that is above all quality. So like we learned in the Mimer in the morning. The Jews are the sons of God. The Jews are the chosen of God. What does this mean? What does it mean? Impossible to value. It's above all value. But that's true about every Jew, no matter who he is, no matter where he is, no matter what he is. Whether he realizes it or not, that's the fact. So this comes out like this. And this is the preparation for receiving the Torah. You have to know that you are important. And your importance has to be in the world as a Jew. And no one can make you into zero. You are one. You are a representative of God who is also one. And your job is to make the world a better place, a good place, a place where people aren't selfish. Right? In order to do that, you have to be brave. That bravery comes from this counting that the Jewish people got in the desert. Lefi Allah, according to the law, Hari b'makom shemetzuyim asara b'Yisrael, as soon as there are 10 Jews, b'li litchashev, not reckoning be'echutam shel asara elu, it doesn't make any difference who they are, even if they're, God forbid, 10 criminals. Im raka kamut ha'asora, as soon as there are 10 Jews, shorish sham shechina, the shechina is there. Even if these are 10 Jews that are, God forbid, they're doing us a bad thing. They're doing a bad thing. And they're doing it in the worst way. That's, the Shekhinah is there, and that's what's so such a shame. Look what you're doing to God. 10 Jews are all together, you're doing a bad thing. It's even worse. Achal Bey Asura, because it says on any group of 10 Jews, any group, Shekhinah Shoria. Efshal Omar Gam Sham, you can say also there, you can say there by 10 Jews, you can say a Davar Shebekadusha, you can say Kaddish, davar hamahave hosafa beichud. This adds on even more to the quality. So if you have Jews that are all 10 Jews that are all sinners, and they all gather together, right? They don't believe in God, they don't believe in anything. 10 Jews, you can say Kaddish. It makes no difference who they are. On the other hand, if you have 9 Jews that are holy like Moses, holy of holies, they can't say Kaddish, only 9 Jews. That you have to have them. So we see that numbers is important. Kach gam halacha gabi zimun. Also the same thing. And after you finish eating, you want to make a blessing after eating. Shlosha she'achlu, 3 people that ate, chayavim are obligated to say, etc. Baruch 10, you have to say Elokeinu, according to what it says in the Mishnah. There's a Mishnah in Brachot. If there's 100 people, they have to say a little bit differently, the zimun, and etc. Shinoi b'kamut, so we see that a change in number shows on a change in quality. Why? Because kamus ve'echus kashurim adadit, because the Jewish people tie quantity and quality together. Okay, huh? The Jewish people unite echut v'kamut. Eser Yehudim yochol lasot minyan shchina afilu eser roshaim. Teisha lo yocholim lasot. Lama ki eser you mispar eser ze nikra minyan. As imken roim she Yehudim mechabrim kamut mispar ve'echut ve'vav. This is the preparation for the giving of the Torah. Okay, Urshel. Kenu gam b'inyan kiyum mitzvahs. So it is also in doing mitzvahs. Ha'esek b'mitzvah patar mi'amitzvah. A person who is doing one commandment does not have to stop in order to do another commandment. If a person is occupied in doing one commandment, how are you patar? He is exempt. Gam mina gadolish of a mitzvah, the greatest commandments. Like it says, kalot shebakalot v'chamurot shebachamurot shavim. Like it says, the greatest of the commandments and the smallest of the commandments are equal. Yoter, okay, and even more. Ha'osek b'mitzvah pater b'shad ma'aser gam mitalmud Torah. If a person is doing a commandment, he's putting on tefillin, and he has a chance to learn Torah, he does not have to learn Torah when he's putting on the tefillin. If a person is taking lulav etrog, and he has a chance to learn Torah, which is the most important commandment, Talmud Torah Keneged Olam, when he is occupied in one mitzvah, he doesn't have to do another commandment. So what do we see? Again, number, it contains in it also quality. Quantity is also quality. Just the fact that in Judaism something is counted, it shows that it's tremendously important. Which is not the case in anywhere else. Like we said, if you ask the fruit salesman, how many fruits have you got? He says, well, I have apples, pears. I don't care about what type they are. How many fruits do you have? Count them all. I'll give you $1 for every fruit. He says, very, very good. He counts all the fruits, every little grape, it's wonderful. Right? He counts everything. I have 5,000 different fruits. Right? So there are some fruits that are rotten and some fruits that doesn't make any difference. He pays for each fruit. The number of each fruit that makes it important doesn't make it important. They're all worth the same. All worth the same. It doesn't make any importance whatsoever whether you have 5,000 fruits or you have one fruit. It's the same thing. That's the way it goes with everything. Right? But Judaism is not so. Judaism is every Jew is worth infinite. Every Jew is worth infinite. You have 10 Jews together, you have 10 infinites, that's a different law. You see that number implies quality. Yeter okay, a person mikol makom b'shat she'osek afilu b'mitzvah kala. When a person is doing even a simple commandment, he is exempt be'et maaseh mitalmud Torah, even from learning Torah. So we see b'kamut mitbatelet echut. We see that number, amount, kamut. This negates quality. Quality. Right? 10 Jews, even the lowest level Jews, can make a minyan. 9, the biggest tzaddikim cannot. So we see that number overrides quality in Judaism. What's this got to do with the giving of the Torah? We'll see. Counting the Jews. Similarly, Motziamanu we find also in Matan Torah. In Matan Torah, Bahotziam kan anachnu kan. Bahotziam. Motziamanu we find also in. What's wrong? You have a different mind.
Okay, I have it over here. I know it. You just made it. Let's bring now I do.
Yeah. I don't know. What this is. This one. No, this is the same thing, it's just a different printing. One second. Let's see what's going on over here. Let's see. No, it's just a different printing, that's all. No, I just don't understand what's going on. You're right, it's something different. It's the same topic. It's the same topic, but this is a different book. Okay, different book. This is a different book. I think they copied this from the other class. I think this is Chelik Chet or something. Okay, but you have it, right?
Yeah.
Similar we can find in Matan Torah. In Matan Torah, Nechutzim Oyu Shishim Ribo. In Matan Torah, it was important that there would be 600,000 people there. And if one person would have been missing, even if that person would have been the lowest person in the lowest tribe, the last of the tribes, which is the tribe of Dan, God wouldn't have given the Torah. He would not have given the Torah even to Moshe Rabbeinu. Mishum hachisaron b'kamut shel shishim ribu, because it would be lacking in 600,000. Bedugmas brachas chacham arazin, like there's a blessing that you make that you have to if you see 600,000 people, specifically 600,000 chacham arazin, because everybody's face and everybody's personality is different. So what do we see? Number is important. The Torah, the Holy Torah, that God created the world for the Torah. And He put the Jews in Egypt and they suffered for hundreds of years to receive the Torah. And if there would have been one Jew missing, the Torah would not have been given. After all that trouble, one Jew, if he was the lowest, simplest Jew, he lost his way, he forgot, fell asleep in the toilet, right? Didn't care, made no difference to him. That one Jew was missing. All of the Jewish people, with Moshe and Aaron and all the greats and all the tzaddikim, they wouldn't have received the Torah. So we see the importance of one Jew, number, and the not so great importance of quality, what type of a Jew it is. Inyan HaPekudim shebesefer Midbar. So if so, we see that the number, this idea of counting the Jews, which is in this week's Parsha, Kashur Harigam Be'inyan HaDgalim. This is also connected to the idea of the flags. Benogea L'Dgalim, regarding flags, there was each tribe had its own flag and its own color, it says. Mesupar B'Midrash, it says in the Midrash, B'Shas Matan Torah, in the time of Matan Torah, Ro Yisrael, the Jewish people saw Merkava. They saw the upper chariot, Umachanot HaMalachim, and the camps of the angels, Asuyim Degalim Degalim, that also they have what's called flags. The angel Michael is on the right, the angel Gabriel is on the left, etc. The angel Raphael, Uriel are in the middle. Hitchilu matim Machram Malachim Asurim Degalim Hitchilu mitavim ledegalim. They said, we also want to have flags. They had taiva. Omer Kodesh Baruch Hu Moshe. God said to Moshe, Lech asaltam ledegalim kamosh nitabu. Make whatever flags that you want. The camps were called Degel Machane Ephraim, Degel Machane Dan. The flags, Keshem Shalom Matan Torah, just like in Matan Torah, Nechutzaya, it was important to have number 600,000 specifically. Kach Gam Legabia Degalim, and also regarding to these flags, Shemakoram, that the source is Matan Torah. Hayat Tzorech Ba'oto Mispar, you had to have the same number for this. K'mayim Razal, like it says, Mispar Degel Machane Yehuda, Hu Mispar Amalachim Sheba Machane Mechoel, that the number of the flag of the camp of Yehuda is like the number of the angels that are in the camp of the angel Mechoel. What that means has to be looked into, because the angels are, it says, infinite numbers. So by means of number, the more, the better. Quality comes from quantity. When we're dealing with Judaism. What do we learn from this? Now is the time. Now is the time when numbers, quantity is more important than quality. Now the main thing is trying to reach as many Jews as possible. It's better to reach 100,000 Jews in a superficial way, right? Tell them, you know that there's such a thing as Torah, there's such a thing as tefillin, put tefillin on them, right? Than to sit down and find one Jew and learn with him Torah and make him into a Talmid Chacham. That's a wonderful thing to do. Wonderful thing, that's the goal. The goal is that every Jew should do all the commandments and should learn Torah and should know Torah. But nowadays, the way we can get to that goal is by ignoring it temporarily and putting our emphasis on numbers. Get to as many Jews as you can in any way you can. Give them the real Torah. Don't water it down. Don't say this is all you have to do and that's good enough. But you can tell them, listen, you should know there's a wonderful Torah and wonderful commandments. You don't have to do all at one time in order to get into it. Start small. You'll build up. Put tefillin on. One time. Put tefillin on one time. That's all. Someone came up to the Rebbe and said, Rebbe, I can't put tefillin on every day. The Rebbe said, you don't have to put tefillin on every day? You don't have to put it on every day. On Shabbat, we don't put on tefillin. On the holidays, we don't put on tefillin. Right? In the nighttime, you don't have to put on tefillin.
Does it say that numbers are better than quality, or is it?
In this case, yes, that's what he's saying.
Or is it that sometimes numbers are more important than quality?
Listen, like I say, ideally, every Jew has to be a tzaddik. Ideally, every Jew has to be. Ideally, every Jew already is totally connected to Torah and mitzvahs, but he doesn't bring it out. Ideally, every Jew will express in a revealed way all of the Torah and all of the commandments. That will be the nature of every Jew, to serve Hashem with tremendous joy, to show the world that we're not alone. The world is very important. Every human being is very essential. And that But the way that we're going to do that is not to not to relinquish numbers for the sake of quality. Not to say quality is so important. I'm going to find one person, sit with him and learn with him, and that's going to be my goal. I'll sit day and night and learn with him. No. You have to do that, yes, but you also have to go into the streets and put tefillin on people. You have to go from door to door and knock, put mezuzahs. You have to pass out candles to ladies that they should do. What's that going to do for a Jew? He puts on tefillin one time. He says, what's it going to do if he puts on zero? Right? If he puts on one time, at least there's one. Right? One is infinitely greater than zero. Right? You have a Jew that puts on tefillin every single day. He's much better than in Judaism than a person that only puts on one. He says, yeah, but he's nowhere near comparable, better than a person that never put on and one person puts on once. So we can pick people put on once. Okay. What can we learn from this? Mibli habet al matzavam ha'echuti u'keshetosef kamus. When you add numbers, tigadel mimela gam echut, they will also be increased in quality. How many Jews are there that today are Talmidei Chachamim, the rabbis? Because somebody in Chabad put them on tefillin one time, or said invited them in to dance for Simchas Torah. The only connection they ever had with Judaism, dancing with Simchas Torah. Any fool can dance. You can just put on music in the street, give a person $10 and say dance. You give give another $10, he'll dance. What's the big deal of dancing? But he danced in Simchas Torah, and he danced for 3 minutes, changed his whole life. Like that story that I told you about the fellow who was going to commit suicide, and Chabad grabbed a hold of him on Chanukah, and they danced with him. With the beginning, it's not so important. Chashuv be'ikar, the most important, Mida v'omek ha'echut tevatzer b'hem. In the beginning, it is not so important what type of impression you make on another person, how deep it is, how deep you got into him to teach him, convince him about the greatness of God, the greatness of the Torah. Chashuv be'ikar, the main thing is etzam inyan shel hachnasat Yehudi l'machane Yisrael. The main thing is to bring another Jew into the awareness that he's a Jew. Ukapirish Admor Zaken, like the Alter Rebbe says, Lamayim Razal Akol Be'asor Shechina Shori, on every group of 10, the Shechina exists. Shegam Keshe'en Asara Elo Oskin B'divrei Torah. Even if these 10 people, 10 Jews, they're not learning Torah. Me'achar U'Metzuvim Asar Metzuvim Asar Yisrael. As soon as there are 10 Jews, the Shechina is there. And so it is as what we're talking about. The fact that there are more Jews, and they are aware that they are Jews, this will express also quality. And there will be the intention of that God desires that there should be a dira b'tachtonim, a dwelling in the lower world, in the physical world. Aval, but yesh ladad, you have to know, she umevasarcha lo titalim, don't hide yourself, don't ignore yourself. Ha'achana l'matan Torah, the preparation for Matan Torah is not only avodah im zulot, it's not only working with others. Ella but gam bavura imatzmo. You have to work with yourself also. You can say, hey, I don't have to learn Torah. I don't have to do commandments. I don't have to pray. I don't have to do anything. I put the tefillin on 70 people today. That knocks everything out. Right? I am waking up tomorrow at 6 a.m. and I'm going to go out. They're not davening. You're not playing. I'm affecting other people. I'm giving up myself for the others. Says the Rebbe, nice idea, but totally messed up. Shebashas Matan Torah lo hoyu charashim velo sumim. Like it says that in the time of Matan Torah, There were no deaf people. Lo sumim, there were no blind people. O kol bali mumim, and there were no people that were really handicapped. Rahman al-Islam. Akol nitrapu. Everything got healed. Roy Ladat, therefore, it is important to know. Sheyesh labol matan Torah b'shleimut eborim. You have to go to Matan Torah healthy, complete, kulam, beli kol mum, without any blemish. Therefore, what does it mean? Also spiritual blemish. You have to take care of yourself. You have a bad temper, take care of it. You're lazy, fix it up. You're jealous, you have to correct it, right? You have all sorts of lusts and desires, right? You have to get advice. Clean up your act. Clean up yourself. Clean up your soul. First of all, take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. Then you can take care of others. Not necessarily in time. You can take care of others. Put on tefillin while you're working on yourself. But the primal thing is, you must fix yourself up. You have to fix yourself up. Regarding other people, don't be afraid when you meet somebody and you discover how low and how far away this person is. You have to befriend every Jew. Just like it was in Matan Torah. Like it says, Vayichan, Lashon Yachid. All of the Jews were like one. But, and regarding to yourself, Allah ladad, you have to cheshbon mitzavo. You can't say, oh yeah, me too. Also, I didn't, I'll just ignore my bad things. So no, bad things, you ignore other people's bad stuff. You ignore. But your own things, own your bad things, don't ignore them. Because other people won't either. Allah ladad et cheshbon mitzavo. Im yesh pagam izishu, yesh tatagno. You have something wrong, you got to fix it up. It's very much fun to fix other people up. Very, very, very.
It's a lot easier.
It's not easier. Not only is it easier, it's also easier, but it's fun. You feel elevated. You feel superior. All of a sudden, you're Sigmund Freud. You can look at the other person. You understand all of his faults, all of his bluffs, all of his lies, all of his, and you feel like, man, am I perfect? I'm 100%. But in the end, what do you come out like? Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud was everything he said was a mistake. The guy was a big bluffer himself. Everything he said was other people. He missed out what life is about. He destroyed other people's lives. And the same thing is with a person. A person has to fix himself up. Don't fool yourself. It says the Rebbe, the Friedrich Rebbe asked his father, why are there two eyes? He said there's one eye is to look, right eye is to look at another Jew. And your left eye is to look at a candy. The left eye is to look at, left side means the side that's rejected, that's very scrutinous. And the right side is usually the side that's loving. There's another Jew, don't care about the other person's faults. But the left eye, that's to be scrutinous, to see what's wrong with everything, to correct. So therefore the Rebbe is saying, every Jew is one. Every Jew is important. This is an essential thing of all the Jewish people. When every Jew is woken up, then they'll all start looking at themselves and fix themselves up. Meanwhile, your job is to wake up every Jew. Wake up every Jew. But don't forget about yourself. Okay, that is it for today. Thank you very much.